be here. We feel so welcome and cannot tell you how much enjoyment we've had working with the students here as well as the faculty. Appreciate all of you coming out here on your Sunday to be here. At this time, I would like to introduce the wonderful principal of Fremont High School, Ms. Blanca Escobar.
Good morning, buenos dias. Thank you first of all for being here on a Sunday morning. It is very hard, trust me. My brother, he has Down syndrome. He was in a special needs quinceañera last night, so it was very hard getting up today, but I know the commitment and I know how special this event is. I would like to introduce myself once again. My name is Blanca Escobar. I am the proud principal of John C. Fremont. This day is very special. I do remember it like yesterday when it happened, and it was unbelievable. My daughter was about to turn 1, so I always backtrack with her age. She'll be 22. So it marks 21 years. And I remember I was actually an EL advisor on my way to do a parent presentation to Southgate, in the Southgate area. So I got a chance to drop off my daughter. She was even 1 at my mother's house a little bit late because the PD started, the parent training started at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I dropped off my daughter, Bianca, at my mother's house, and my dad and mom were having breakfast. And that's a very, it was very unique because oftentimes you never get to see your parents bonding over breakfast. And on the TV, they had the event 9/11. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, are you guys looking at a movie? Because it was unheard of, it was unimaginable. And I know for some of you, because it is 21 years later, it's unforeign. You don't quite understand it because this was the first time that we were just speechless. It happened here in America, and I know that right now we have a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles. We're just coming out of the post-pandemic. We did lose loved ones in the whole process. But for some, especially this new generation, I want you guys to think about what 9/11 means to all of us. It's a very special moment, and it's something that I can recall so vividly, just like yesterday. I did not have a chance to present that day because everything, for the most part, it was on hold. I did report. No, actually at the time, my local superintendent was Dr. Behe. He was coming from San Diego. And I was working at the AT&T building in downtown next to the Central Library. It was a skyscraper, so we were all apprehensive. We were all wondering, are we next? And I'm 15, my hometown is 15 minutes away from here. It's Wilmington, we are the heart of the harbor. And we host a lot of refineries as well as a port. So we were also very worried that what if they were to bomb the port, especially the refineries. Because if you look at your history, there's a lot of petroleum pipelines underneath LA. There's specific pipelines that go all the way to Alaska. So it was very, very scary, nerve-wracking, not knowing. But I'm so glad that we're hosting this event for you guys to know your history, our history. Because it does mark a special moment in time. And please, it's something that we should never forget about our fallen heroes, especially our first responders. They went in not knowing the fallout, how some of them ended up getting cancer because they did not have the proper gear. And a lot of it was very hazardous for their health. So even if some did die that day, 9/11, the ones that went in, they had a lot of fallout, a lot of health issues. Some eventually did pass away. But I do want to thank everyone for being here, honoring and never forgetting. This is something that's always etched in my heart. So please thank you again, Fremont community. It is so wonderful seeing so many of you here on a Sunday morning. I want to publicly acknowledge our special guests that we have here. Of course, Seymour. I met Seymour when I was the operations coordinator over there at Northridge Academy High School on the campus of CSUN. So he and I have a very special relationship. And he's a very strong advocate, especially in communities like ours, South Central. And I want to publicly acknowledge Dr. Robert Whitman. He is our COSA for Fremont. We also have a rep from our board member's office, Dr. Watts, Dee Watts in the back. Oh, and we have Ms. Tanya Franklin on YouTube just walked in. Let's please give her a warm welcome, showing her truly our special love here at the Mont, because this is a very special place. We have a lot of rich history, there's a lot of rich legacy, and of course, we do want to always remember and never forget. Thank you for being here. I welcome you to Johnson Fremont once again. Mi casa es su casa, and please enjoy, and thank you all for being here. Back to you, Seymour.
Thank you for those wonderful words of principle. And now at this time, I'd like to call on Dr. Michael Johnson to sing the national anthem. Dr. Michael Johnson is a veteran. He served in the, he served, actually, it's not having a thought part. At this time now, with the color guard, we'd like to have Dr. Michael Johnson sing the national anthem. He, as mentioned, is a veteran. He was in the 47th, 11th U.S. Army Hospital portion of the Army, and he was a military social worker. Dr. Johnson.
I think if we can all stand and put our hands over our
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous light were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in hell, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Applause for being here this morning. Good morning again. My name is Dr. Robert Whitman. I am the Community and Schools Administrator, and I support Fremont High School as well as 27 other elementary and secondary schools in South LA and the Watts community. I am very honored to be here, and I'm really impressed by what is happening here at Fremont High School here on Sunday, acknowledging 9/11. And 9/11, as Principal Escobar mentioned, for those who were alive during that time, I know that many of you here weren't, our students, you would remember exactly what you were doing where you were during that time. And as Principal Escobar mentioned very vividly, I was paying attention to the news. And, you know, oftentimes we see these headlines, breaking news, well, that one caused you to pause because of the images that we saw on that day. But most importantly, during that time, it was a reminder to me and everyone in the country that our democracy and our way of life is very fragile, because I would have never in my lifetime thought that something like that, of that magnitude, would have happened in this country, especially during my lifetime. And where the direction in which our staff and our students are going with the commemoration and the project that they're currently engaged in is really about advocacy. Because even the things that we've seen over the last 2 years, we would have never thought that we would see happen in our lifetime. A pandemic, a lot of the challenges that we've seen as a result of the pandemic, and things that we're seeing also in our current democracy and how fragile that is. And so the assignment that our students are engaged in is very important, because it really is about advocacy and how do we advocate for our community and for things that we know is right within our current government structure. So I just want to give a shout out to our staff for leading this work and helping our students understand the importance of advocacy. I'm just elated to be here. I'm excited about what's happening here at Fremont High School. I've been a part of Fremont High School going on 4 years now with Wanda Isabel, and I am so proud of the work that our teachers and our staff, under the leadership of Principal Isabel, is doing over the last 4 years. You know, this school is getting better and better and better every year, and it's a beacon of hope within our community, and it's really the shining star. I have many family members who have actually graduated from Fremont. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of it, and just really, you know, relish in the legacy that others and my family members have had who have come through the doors here at Fremont High School. And so again, thank you all for being here on Sunday. I am so impressed to see that this auditorium, this cafeteria, our multi-purpose room is what we call it, is filled with students and families commemorating 9/11. And that's because of your dedication, our staff's dedication, and the commitment that our students and families have to Fremont High School. So again, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Seymour, for what you do each and every day on behalf of Fremont High School. Thank you.
I would now like to call upon the wonderful representative of the school board for this area, Tanya Ortiz-Franklin. And this is not the first time she's been to Fremont, nor the last. She has made it a point of being involved in our activities here, and we're so appreciative of that.
Just like Ms. Esquivel and those of us who were alive at the time, we definitely remember exactly where we were. So I graduated from LA Unified in 2001 and began my college career in New York City in August of 2001. So I had been on campus and in New York for 3 weeks when 9/11 hit. I was living in a dorm on the 13th floor, and my view was north towards Harlem, but the kids across the hall from me could see south. And so a lot of my classmates saw the second plane hit. A lot of us were wondering what was going to happen with classes because they were canceled for a couple of hours. There was chaos, confusion, worry, and wonder. But the thing I remember most about being a student, being a 17-year-old in New York City on 9/11 in 2001, was the unity and togetherness that happened on campus. We had several vigils where people came to the center of the quad with candlelight, telling stories of the family members and friends they had lost. We had so many kids donate blood and try to figure out how to be helpful in the situation. It was a little tricky because they didn't want a bunch of college kids coming down to the emergency area, but I remember so deeply how much young people wanted to give back, wanted to be helpful. And those are the memories that stick out the most to me from that really scary time. About a year later, my cousin was born, and her middle name is Joy. She was born on 9/11/2002. And the thing I think about her middle name and the entire significant event of 9/11/2001 and 2 is that I think those whose lives we lost and those who fought so hard for freedom and democracy and safety in this country would also want us to remember the joy that they gave to us when they were here, and and the legacy of life and possibility and prosperity in the United States of America. And so I think about the unity of my classmates, I think about the joy that my cousin's name reminds me of, and I also think about the tension that we had years later around racial tolerance. You know, there was a lot of pride in our country. There was a lot of coming together and being grateful for who you were and those who served you, but there was also a lot of confusion and misconceptions about the other. And so what I think about now, years later, is we still have a lot of that confusion and misconception about others. And so every opportunity that's hard for us, that challenges us to our very core, does remind us to respect and seek to understand others, even while things might be hard. And so many of the things you've experienced over the last couple of years around racial injustice and racial intolerance, that happened years ago, and it keeps happening. And so I look around the young people here in this room, and I think about the legacy you're going to leave, the joy you're going to impart on all of us here, around really healing that racial tolerance across all lines of difference. How we can work together, seek to understand, and really make America the beautiful place that we know it takes lots of work to make it be. So thank you for being here and celebrating. Good luck with all of your seeking racial tolerance and joy and unity and collaboration. And thank you again for everyone just taking some time to remember those we lost, but also taking some time to think about what's yet to come, because I know that's going to be great. Thank you.
So I want to put you in a state of mind for a second. September 11th started. We had the tragedies at the Twin Towers. We had a country that was concerned, confused. Do we move forward? What happens? And we looked to our leader at the time, the president, President Bush, to say some words so that the Americans would know we will continue to strive. So what we are going to do now is our leader then spoke words, but our future leaders of tomorrow are now going to reenact his speech. And so you are going to be hearing from Urban Lucas, Daisy Rios, Jose Rigon, Maestra McFarland, Delia Ortiz, and Carlos Valenzuela. Can you please come on?
Citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in the offices, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murders were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat, but they have failed. Our country is strong.
A great people have been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundations of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot bend the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for an attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world. And no one will keep that light from shining.
Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans. Our military is powerful and is prepared. Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts.
Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The functions of our government continue without interruption. Federal agencies in Washington, which had to be evacuated today, are reopening for personal personnel tonight and will be open for business tomorrow. Our financial institutions remain strong and the American economy will be open for business as well.
The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance.
America and our friends and allies, join with all those who want peace and security in the world, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight, I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken to the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite, and our resolves for justice and peace. America has stood on enemies before, and we will do so this time. None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you, good night, and God bless America.
Our very own ROTC instructor, Sergeant Major Homos.
Thank you, Mrs. Hobab, Principal Escobar, Dr. Whitman, Dr. Watts, thank you for being here with us. Family and friends of Fremont, students and parents, you matter. It matters that you came today. It matters to that person to the left, to the right of you. It matters to those teachers and staff that put this event together. And it matters to the families of the fallen of the events of 9/11. I'm not from New York, nor was I there. I was a sergeant standing guard at the embassy, taking on calls from different people saying they were going to kill us during 9/11. I want to talk about one of the first responders at 9/11 that I had the pleasure to meet his family when I was stationed in New York. I'd like to talk about Sergeant Major Curtin. Like many of you today, Sergeant Major Curtin on September 11, 2001 woke up, prepared himself for work. Just before he left work, he left a fresh bouquet of flowers for his wife, Helga, who it was her birthday on September 11th. He had planned a dinner that night where he would put together a nice dinner for two with his family, with his wife and his 3 daughters. He set off for the Emergency Services Unit, known as the E-Men in New York. These are the professionals. When the police need help, they're there to rescue the police. After the first plane hit the towers, Sergeant Major Curtin got in his truck and immediately headed towards Manhattan to save as many people as he could. Now, Sergeant Major Curtin, this was not the only time that he faced an attack on the World Trade Center. During the first bombing of the New York Trade Center in 1993, Sergeant Major Curtin was there as a first responder, rappelling from a helicopter on the roof of the North Tower in hopes to evacuate people off the roof. 2 years later, in Oklahoma City, after the federal building had been bombed, Sergeant Major Curtin was called once again to help out. Sergeant Major Curtin was known to have identified a fallen Marine in the rubble. He recognized the fall in the Marine by his blue trousers and his red stripe. And Sergeant Major Curtin didn't stop and risked his own life to pull that fallen brother out of the rubble. Not only did he do that, he made sure there was a flag to cover the body as the remains were extracted from the rubble. That day on September 11th, Sergeant Major Curtin directed his crew to save as many people out of the North Tower. Even after the South Tower had begun to fall, Sergeant Major Curtin didn't run. He stayed there because he still had men in floors above him. You might have known that this was it, but that's the type of guy that Sergeant Major Curtin was. Curtin was not the only hero of that day. There's 373 firefighters that perished, and there's also 92 law enforcement officers that perished as the towers began to collapse. When I was in New York, like I said, I had the pleasure of meeting Sergeant Major Curtin's widow, Helga, his 3 daughters, and they talk about him as if he had never left, if he has just gone away to the grocery store to pick up some groceries, and they're waiting for him to come home. They don't hold their heads low, they hold their heads high, because they know that there's men out there, there's women out there that are willing to risk it all for us. They didn't know the people that they were going to save. They just knew that there was people in need. Like many educators here have stated, this is about advocacy, teaching advocacy for the students. It's not only through heroic acts that you can obtain that. Through your education, through furthering yourself, through helping out your community. That's why your presence here matters. Because the knowledge that many of that have bestowed upon you will last a lifetime. So once again, I'd like to thank you for all of you that showed up here. And God bless America.
At this time, let us just take a moment to have a moment of silence and to to all of ourselves to honor the victims. So let's just take about a minute to be silent in honor of those who perished in combat. Thank you all for that. At this time, I would like to see if we can view a memorial viewing of a video that remembered the tragic events of September 11th.
One to the death and our five to the death. Ready? down.
Yeah, northeast of Kansas.
I'd like to have a presentation of the flag, the name, all the victims. As a nation, we continue to grow and prosper. But we only continue to grow and prosper by influencing and educating and mentoring our next generation of leaders. Today, you got the opportunity to see some of that next generation of leaders from John C. Fremont High School. They are only representative of the many students in Los Angeles Unified School District that each day go to school and are educated to be our future leaders. As long as we continue to do the job, to support these students, to give them the opportunities that so many other children in the world do not have,
we will not only flourish, but we will help the entire world become a place of freedom, understanding, and acceptance. So acts like these will be only in the history books, and no one else will ever have to feel that pain again. At this time, this concludes our formal presentation, but not the entire day. We would like you to take the opportunity to go around and see the wonderful art that the students of Law and Social Justice at John C. Fremont High School created in remembrance of this event. Also, we had students write handwritten letters to the first respondents and victims and other people who unfortunately were there that day. And we would like you to take the moment to talk to the student speakers and the other students here from John C. Fremont Law School. That was John C. Fremont High School, but some of them will be in law school soon. Yes. All right, that's right.